Hello and welcome back to CEO.CA's Inside the Boardroom. My name is James Pettam and today I'm joined by Edouard Gosselin, CEO and Director of Kobo Resources. Edouard, it's great to see you today.
Likewise, James. I'm happy to be with you today as well.
So let's kick things off. Can you give us a quick elevator pitch, maybe a 30-second overview of Kobo Resources?
Yes, James. For those who don't know who Kobo is, well, we're a junior gold exploration company based out of Quebec City, recently listed on the TSXV as of March of last year. And our assets are in Côte d'Ivoire, so we're focused mainly on West Africa. And we're right now focusing on two main assets in that country.
Great. Now, I understand you had a very busy program last year with some RC drilling. Can you walk us through maybe that year in review?
Right. So we started out by completing the RTO in March, where we raised $4.6 million, give or take. And then we had been completing a geochem program, trenching program on the Kossou license, which is our main of the two licenses I talked about previously. So in the third quarter of last year, we started the first RC program, reverse circulation, on that permit. It had never been drilled before. So we conducted about 5,900 meters of RC drilling within about 5 weeks. That went extremely well. We got very interesting and results, which prompted us to continue investigating even more so the property with more trenching and so on that we finished during the fall of 2023. And in the rest of that year, we also raised an additional $1.3 million, give or take, from the exercise of warrants by high net worth individuals who had been previously integrated into shareholders of the company. So that was another vote of confidence for us. So it was an extremely busy year in terms of exploration on that license, which happens to be just less than 9 kilometers away from an existing operating mine, the RA mine site owned by Perseus Mining, for anyone who knows Perseus. So we're right next door.
Great. Thank you very much for that summary. Can you tell us a bit more about the grades that you were seeing last year with that work program and maybe some of the targets that you've identified for any work later on this year in the upcoming program?
Right. So in the trenching program, we had results on average for some trenches anywhere between 30 to 40 meters, grading at 4.4 grams per ton and sometimes almost 5 grams per ton. Some other areas we had 29 meters at 6.42 grams per ton. So basically, the license is approximately 110 square kilometers, and we are focusing on approximately only 15% of that license. And grades were anywhere between 1 grams per ton, and sometimes we even hit some pockets at 112 grams per ton in different areas. So we've got 3 very prospective zones on the license, one called the Road Cut Zone, the other one the Jagger Zone, and the Katy Zone. And we are in a volcanic package per se. We're on kind of a hillside near a lake, and the area is quite rich in terms of gold anomalies, and that's what got us really going in the first place. When we started out many years ago as an alluvial play, we were digging some pits, approximately 164 pits in that beach area. And only 9 of the 164 pits did not have visible gold in them. So, that really got us going on the property, and we were able to convince the government back then to change the focus of the area from semi-industrial licenses to a large industrial license that we do have today. So the grades are fantastic during the RC program. We drilled 53 holes through 5,900 meters. We got similar results downhole, on average 100-meter holes, which then prompted us to devise a diamond drill program in order to better understand the structure. Last year, during the fall, we brought in a structuralist to help us understand the geology and the structure itself. So the consultant we brought in was a structural geologist working at Yare, had been there for 4 years as on staff, and then 3 subsequent years as a consultant for Yare. So an individual that knows very well the belt, the area, and he was a tremendous asset to us moving forward in helping us to identify the areas where we should focus on, and also our own drilling strategy made some very highly recommended strategies in terms of drilling right there. So that was good for us.
Great. Yeah, it sounds like there's certainly been a lot of work and some exciting targets identified. I want to talk a little bit about that program later on, the upcoming drilling, but I understand you recently raised $7.4 million. It's been a challenging market for raising capital over the last few years, so certainly a vote of confidence. Can you tell us a bit more about what that money is going to be put towards?
Definitely. And I recall being interviewed by you in January in Vancouver, and that's when we were kickstarting the capital raise. And basically, it took us a good 5-6 months to get where we are today after $7.5 or nearly $7.5 million. So a majority of that cash came in from an investor called Mota-Engil, and we were very happy to have him on board, but we'll talk about that a little later. But the cash will be used, most of the cash will be used to further develop the Kossou license. So we're going to spend probably another $3 million this year on the Kossou license, expanding our drill program. Probably another $500,000 is going to be allocated to the Kotobi license, which is in the east part of the country. And the government has also asked us to dust off a couple of applications that are pending because they wanted to allocate us 2 more permits. So we're probably going to end up with 4 licenses by the end of the year, early next quarter. And the rest of the money we'll look at other opportunities, because the arrival of the new partner has changed the focus to a certain degree of Kobo going forward.
Yeah, can you tell us a bit more about that partner, Mota-Engil? Maybe a bit of backstory about them and also how this partnership came about.
Well, the partnership came about through, obviously, the different presentations we were doing left and right, and there was a referral from an existing shareholder. They were looking for an investment. Mota-Engil is a large EPC company in Europe, probably among the top 20, based in Portugal, 50,000 employees. They're present in over 23 countries. And they have a large civil engineering construction side, but also heavily involved in mining. They are the mining contractor for 9 mines in 8 countries in Africa, have been in Africa for nearly 70 years, if not more. So they know the continent very well, very familiar with it. And about 4 or 5 years ago, they decided to get into the front of the game in the mining. So looking at holding the exploration licenses themselves. So they were looking for projects, and obviously we were introduced to them. They liked the story, they liked the quality of the asset, and they definitely liked the management. So they decided to invest $3.5 million in the capital raise. They took a 9.9% position into the equity of the company. So we're really happy to have them on board. Our mandate with them is to continue doing what we are currently doing, which is developing the Kossou assets and other assets in Côte d'Ivoire. They already have a presence in Côte d'Ivoire with being the mining contractor for the Lafigué mine, operated by Endeavour, as well as the Sagala mine operated by Fortuna Silver of Vancouver. So they want us to further develop our presence in Côte d'Ivoire, and having them on board changes somewhat our ability to play in the junior field. Because if we decided to bring a property further down the road to almost a construction or even a production phase, we now have that capability that we can explore very seriously, and the financial backing to put us in that situation. So it's definitely a game changer for us going forward, and it's going to allow us to really expand the company.
Yeah, absolutely. On that note of expansion, I mean, let's talk a bit more about the upcoming drill program. Can you tell us a bit more about the timelines and what you're expecting to complete this year?
Definitely. Well, we just wrapped up about a week ago the first diamond drill program, 4,400 meters, give or take. We just press released the results of the first 15 holes this week. Some great results, 9 meters at almost 23 grams per ton in one of the holes, and other areas of very decent numbers of 15 meters at the 1 point sub grams per ton, and so on. So definitely interesting. We're waiting on another 10 holes to come out in the next couple of weeks. And with those results in, with our structural geologists, we're going to look at those results and then plan for the second phase of the diamond drill this fall. We intend to drill approximately 10 to 12,000 meters in order to better identify the different anomalies we've already identified in those three major zones I talked about, whether it's RCZ zone, the Jagger zone, or the Katy zone. But there's also a fourth one that we haven't explored yet, but we believe has a high potential, which is called the contact zone. And it was identified by our exploration manager, Chris Pickin, and later confirmed by the structural geologists. The contact zone is really a point of contact between the sediments and the volcanics. And in that area, there's a lot of shearing. And they believe that it's at the first order fault. So there could be really a high potential of mineralization in that area. So we intend to use some of the money and poke some holes and test that theory in the months to come.
Great. Well, sounds like there's an exciting year end in place for Kobo. Looking a bit further ahead, can you give us a sense of where are you expecting the main growth opportunities, and what do you anticipate the trajectory to be like over the coming years?
Well, I've spoken about this year, and should success continue at Kossou, the next year, 2025, will be 40 to 50,000 meters of drilling on that property. So that means potentially, or not potentially, but we will have to go back to market in Q1 of 2025. And the goal for us is, with that a total of 60 to 70,000 meters, is hopefully to bring us to the inferred resource level by the end of Q4 25 or early 26. Now, in our previous business model before the arrival of Mota, we would have said that our intentions was to bring that property to that level and then look for a potential buyer. But now that changes a bit the dynamics going forward. So it's, even though there's a mine next door, it really changes the cards going forward. So Kobo definitely will be on the lookout for some potential partnerships should we be able to find 1 million or 2 million ounces on that property. Further down the road, obviously, there's the Kotobi license in the east, and eventually the two other licenses that I mentioned in that area. But we are also looking at other properties right now outside of the country. And furthermore, since the arrival of Mota-Engil in the shareholder base, them having a large presence in Africa is a known name. We've been receiving a lot of interest from local players wanting to partner with us. So there is a multitude of opportunities showing up at our doorstep because of this capital raise and the partner we brought into the table. So definitely Kobo is going to be on the rise and on the move. and hopefully we're going to be able to grow this through the roof, if you wish, you know. So that's what we're laying the ground for.
Well, Edouard, looking forward to more exciting updates throughout the year. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure having you.